Hey, what's up there, YouTubers? It's me again, Brian, aka Gamer55551, and I am back with a video review. And for this review, we're going to be taking a look at Nier Replicant, if I'm saying the name correctly. That was just released for the PS4 and Xbox One, but I'm going to be basing it off of my time playing it on the Xbox Series S. It can also be played on the Xbox Series X and the PS5, and the game is also available on PC via Steam. And if you're interested in any gameplay footage, I'll have a link down in the description down below, or you can click on the card that will appear up on this video though. During the PS3 and the Xbox 360 era, Square Enix released a game called the Nier, which was basically a spin-off of another series that they have done. I think it was called Dragon Gate or Dragon Guard. I apologize if I'm not saying the name correctly and all that stuff. And while Nier certainly got praise from a lot of folks, though, it did not become the commercial success that Square Enix probably thought it could have been, mostly because it was mostly a niche title and all. It wasn't until 2017 when Square Enix teamed up with Platinum and released a sequel called Nier Automata, though. This game basically exploded, though, basically. Not only did the game did very well, it basically turned one of the main characters to be into what we're seeing right now with the female vampire from Resident Evil Village, in terms of that status. And it was also a game that basically actually saved Platinum Games, to be exact, since they were facing some troubles and all that, considering not a lot of their games have been the commercial success that they would have liked it to be. They've gained some attention. I mean, they've done well, but maybe not in the level they would have liked it to be. And because of that, it's definitely got, probably, from what I understand, got Square Enix to re-examine probably the Nier series that they have sort of like forgotten and all. And now we've basically come up with a basically a remaster of the original Nier, now available on the PS4 and the Xbox One. Now, I never played the original Nier. I never played it when it came out during the PS3 and the 360 era, and so this basically is my first time playing this type of game. And I will say that while there are some hiccups I'm not a big fan of, I will say fans of Nier Automata will probably enjoy this game. So why don't we get started with the pros and cons, and we'll start off first with the pros, and that is the gameplay, though. And for those, like I said, those who are familiar with the Nier Automata gameplay will feel right at home over here, though. You have basically, instead of your little Android Android helper, though, you have this book called the Weiss, which you'll open up during parts of the story that sort of acts very similar to that, and the combat is pretty much very similar and close to what Nier Automata is, though, which is definitely a good thing because it definitely gave off a bit of that Platinum feel to it, though. And while Platinum didn't exactly develop this game, though, it was developed by another development team, some folks who worked on the game definitely helped out on this, and you definitely get somewhat of a Platinum feel to the gameplay, but not a huge feel to it. So the gameplay is very similar to Nier Automata, and if you were a fan of that type of gameplay, you'll like the Nier Replica, though. The next thing I do want to talk about is the music, and I would say I really like the music in this game. It is enjoyable as basically what Nier Automata's music is, though. I love, the lady, singing and all that. So it adds a nice touch to the game, and also it's really, so from a music standpoint, it's really good and all. And last but not least, and this one I'm very pleased about, is that basically playing this game on the Xbox Series S, I'm not sure about the other versions, but I'm pretty sure there's a good chance the other versions might have this too, is that the game runs at a good 60 frames per second, and that is definitely a good thing, though. Granted, though, obviously some compromises have been made to it, and I'll get to the cons, though, on that part. But if I had to choose between having a higher resolution or a stable / higher frame rate, I'm going to go with the stable / frame rate over the higher resolution. So I'm really happy that even on a system like the Xbox Series S, that this game could run at 60 frames per second, and that's certainly, in my book, a very good thing indeed. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we'll get to part 2, which is the con. So we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with part 2 of our video review of Nier Replicant. I apologize, I'm not saying the name correctly. Based on my time with it on the Xbox Series S. So now that I gave you the pros, why don't we get started with the cons? And there are really only 3 cons, and we'll start off with the first one. Now, as I mentioned in the pro, I talked about how the game runs at 60 frames per second on the Xbox Series S, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. And I did mention that I am more of a person who prefers, gameplay over graphics. I prefer, a stable frame rate or a higher frame rate over a higher resolution and all. And I still stand behind that no matter what. That said, I understand that may not be for everyone. And the one downside about this of Nier Replicant running on Xbox Series S is the fact that the resolution is dropped to 720p compared to what excuse me, some of the other versions could be, like if you were playing it on the PS5 or the Xbox Series X, though. Now, that said, though, like I said, I'm not bothered by this as much. Some might be, but I'm not really, though. To me, the 60 frames per second is more than makes up for it. But for those who are hoping basically to be at like 1080p on the Xbox Series S, it is somewhat of a disappointment. Maybe Square Enix will probably maybe do a patch for it sometime down the road, and maybe do a smart delivery and make one compatible for Xbox Series X and S or PS5 or something like that. So maybe we'll see something like that down the road. But as of right now, though, on the Xbox Series S, the resolution is set at 720p. The next thing I do want to talk about is some of the side quests of the game. And some of the side quests, I would say, aren't necessarily bad or anything like that, but there are some that can get like annoying every now and then. One good example is some of the side quests require you to deliver a item to another place and all, which sounds easy, but what happens is that it's one of those where, like, if you get hit once, the item breaks, and then you have to go all the way back to the person you asked who requested it and get the item again and go deliver it excuse me, while not trying to get hit by the enemy and all. So there are some of these quests, some of these side quests can be a bit annoying every now and then. Again, it doesn't hurt, to me it doesn't hurt the game, but it is something worth pointing out. And last but not least, I will say there is one thing I do want to talk about in terms of the combat, and that there are some cheap deaths every now and then. While I still think the combat's good, it does have, like I mentioned, it has that Nier Automata-like gameplay to it, which isn't a bad thing. There are occasions when you will counter some enemies that does equal to sort of a cheap death, such as like a one-hit kill and all that stuff, which can be annoying every now and then, especially if you're going through a certain point of the story or certain progress or doing some sort of side quest and you have to go back to like the last save point and all that. So it does get annoying every now and then. Does it hurt the game? No, but it is unfortunate that there are some cheap deaths now and then in Nier Automata. Not Automata, Replicant, my bad though. Overall, I think Nier Replicant is a good game and all that, and fans of Nier Automata will probably like this though. The gameplay has a Nier Automata approach to it, which isn't a bad thing in any way. The music in the game is really good. I really enjoy the music in it, and I'm glad that they be able to get the game running at 60 frames per second on the Xbox Series S. It is, however, unfortunate to see that the game is only at 720p on the Xbox Series S and all, though. But like I said, I'm gameplay over graphics type of a person though. Like I said, the side quests can sometimes get a little annoying, and there are times when some of the enemies are like a cheap deaths, aka one-hit kill and all that stuff. But that hasn't ruined me enjoying this game though. It is still a very good game indeed, especially for fans of Nier Automata though. I do hope the game does well enough that perhaps we'll get a third Nier game, or better yet, maybe, just maybe though, they'll maybe go back and basically work on the series that was where Nier was a spin-off from. I think it was the Dragon Guard or Dragon Guard. Apologize if I'm not saying the name correctly. Maybe they can go back and maybe consider giving that one a remaster treatment, modernize it for today's generations, and hopefully this also encourages Square Enix to maybe take a look at some of their other titles that over the years they've been long forgotten, and maybe give them a second chance and all that stuff. So either way, I enjoy Nier Replicant. It's a good game though, and it is a good game on the Xbox Series S. If you have another system to play it on, go with that. But if you're worried about playing this on the Xbox Series S, don't be worried about it. It's a good game, indeed. So fans of Nier Automata will probably like Nier Replicant though. Okay, this concludes my video review of Nier Replicant on the Xbox Series S. And again, these are my opinion. What are yours? What are your thoughts about Nier Replicant, though? Have you tried the game out yet, though? Are you planning on getting the game? And if so, which system are you looking at getting it on? The PS4? The Xbox One? Do you plan to get those versions and play it on either the Xbox Series X or the PS5? Or do you plan to play the game on the Xbox Series S or PC via Steam, though? Do you like the fact that they approach the gameplay similar to Nier Automata, though? Do you think this opens the door to the possibility we could see a third Nier game happen? Do you agree with what I said in this video? Do you disagree? Do you have a difference of opinion? As always, sound off in the comment section below. Let me know what you think. And if you do like this video, I hope you hit the like button. I would appreciate it. And I hope you do subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you do, make sure you hit the bell icon for notifications of any new videos I put up. Also, feel free to share this video if you want to, and feel free to donate to my channel if you like. You could do it through PayPal me or Patreon. Links will be in the description of this video, assuming you're watching this on YouTube. And I will see you again next time when I do another video. Hopefully that'll be soon. Until then, from Southern California, wish you all a good day then. Bye!